Welcome to the Humanergy Leadership Podcast, where we tackle your toughest leadership challenges and share practical tools to help you lead with impact.
Hey everybody, I'm Mimi with Humanergy, and this is another of our free workshop series. This is Jim Marshall with Holding People Accountable. If you're interested in joining us for any of our free workshops, you can find the link on our website under the free workshops page, humanergy.com. Enjoy.
Greetings, everyone. We're looking to talk about holding people accountable. And there's a lot that can be said about holding people accountable. I think if you're anything like me or some leaders I've worked with, and I know there's a range of responses, you can even look in the chat right now and see them, but it can be pretty scary. Whether you're the one who has to go in and do the work to hold someone accountable or deliver feedback, or whether you're the one receiving it, sometimes just the idea, just hearing the words can raise discomfort or raise anxiety. And so by the time we walk out of here in a little while, I'm hoping you've got some thoughts and some tools that are going to help make that easier. And I'm also hoping you really walk away inspired to choose to wade into those conversations because they're crucial and they're important, and they are, I believe, really an opportunity for us and the people that we work with in our organizations to get better. So you can just look at some of I looked at the chat reasons, and sometimes they seem overloaded. That's why I don't want to step in and hold people accountable. Sometimes the expectations weren't clear to begin with. Sometimes it just makes me uncomfortable. I don't think they're going to like me. I think it's going to lead to a conflict. So there's a lot that causes us to delay. So let's jump into these two thoughts and two tools. So first of the two thoughts, one, reminding ourselves that people love to learn and grow. Now, that doesn't mean I can walk up to someone and say, you know what your problem is, and launch into saying something, or what's wrong here and you need to fix. But it does mean that if I'm resting on that foundation that people really do want to learn and grow, that when I walk into a conversation and I help them and I do it well to think about what they did and how they might be able to do that better, or what the performance standard looks like, or where we need them to be, and that kind of a thing, then it can lead to a positive outcome. The person can actually learn something, they can grow from it, they can get a good feeling. For most of us, our engagement, our retention, our desire to stay in our organization has a connection to our sense of learning, growth, progress being made. And even I would argue our relationships can get stronger. Now, one key ingredient that people need in order to respond positively, openly, and receptively is they have to know our intent. In other words, they have to know we have their best interest at heart. And I think people on a gut intuitive level, they're reading that. They have to know, I got your back. I'm doing this because I want to help you. And they have to feel like it's a safe environment. And then I guess that's the key word. When they feel safe, then they want to engage in learning and growing. When it doesn't feel safe, when they don't know, is this somehow a negative performance review? Am I going to end up criticized in front of other people? Is this going to show up in my performance review later? Is this going to have a financial consequence in my life? If I don't know those things, then it doesn't feel really safe. But if it's early and there's an opportunity to really learn and grow, and I think that this person's got my best interest at heart, then I'm likely to lean in. And I think all of us, most humans, are likely to lean in. That idea of safety brings up thought number two. If it's early, it's easier to deal with. And if it's late, it gets messy. In fact, we like to talk about the slippery slope. So if you're listening along, there's a horizontal continuum that moves from early on the left to late on the right. And there's a vertical continuum that moves from simple and easy at the top to hard and complex at the bottom. And our performance situations where we need to deliver feedback or hold people accountable, they start in the upper left, in the green area, the green zone, where if we deal with it early, it tends to be simple, it tends to be manageable, it tends to be doable. The longer that we wait, for whatever reason, the reasons that we talked about in breakouts and in the chat, then the more we fall on this falling slope to the right. It's the slippery slope where we slide into. It's messy, it's tangled, it's difficult. There's personality or emotion involved, and it's just that much harder to sort it out and come to a productive resolution or a productive end to that conversation. So again, if it's early, it's going to be easier to deal with. So let's say hopefully these two thoughts have convinced you. People love to learn and grow. And if it's early, it's easier to deal with. So we want to delay less. So what tools can I use? What tools make it easier to know what to say and how to say it? And one that I love is called WXYZ. And you can see it on the screen. In situation W, when you do X, it impacts me in Y ways, and I would prefer Z. There is a lot of power to these 4 components, and I want to walk through it a little bit. First, I'll say I first learned it as in situation W, when you do X, I feel Y, and I would prefer Z. So if that's easier to remember for you, you might, make a note or lock that into your memory. But I also think sometimes in a professional context, I haven't felt comfortable to say I feel this, but it is more comfortable to say it impacts me, it impacts our team, or it impacts our organization in these ways. And again, this is a template. Sometimes you might start with W, X, Y and ask a question, not make a statement, but you can riff on it and you can play with the tool as you have opportunities in your work life to use it. What's powerful about W and X is that it avoids a common error that I like to call the what do I call it? The generalization problem. So let's say that you're watching someone in a meeting, they gave a presentation, they start responding to questions, and their body language and the way in which they're responding is all wrong. They're kind of scoffing, or they're rolling their eyes, or they're interrupting people before they finish the question. You can just tell that they're uncomfortable, or they don't like it, or they're afraid that they're not going to get approval for the thing that they're asking for. And if I were seeing that, then one of the most natural things is I might label that as, well, they're not very collaborative, or they're not very open. They're not very open to feedback. And so what happens when we go to people, and I've seen the word strategic become a weaponized word. You're not very strategic. Well, the most natural response when someone says you're not very collaborative or you're not very strategic, because we put this generalized label on a situation, is someone says, well, when did I do that? How? I don't understand. My intent is to be open, and I may not be really aware of that moment when I wasn't very open in a situation. And generalization doesn't help us to have a good feedback conversation, and doesn't help us to hold people accountable. So what I love about WXYZ is it's in situation W, when you do X, it impacts me or us in Y ways, and I would prefer Z. The power of Y is that it's I language, not you language. You always respond negatively to questions. That's a generalization and it's overstated, but it really owns this is how it's impacting me, or this is how it's impacting our organization. And we need something different from that. And Z really, it's almost like it doesn't leave that person on the spot to respond. They have a chance. You're proposing a solution. What if you try this? And then they could say, yeah, I can do that. Or they could propose a different solution. But now we're having a dialogue about what are we going to do to address this situation. And that can make it really powerful. In the little bit of time I've got left, I want to also share this second tool. And this tool is a tool that we call feed, need, seed, weed. And feed, need, seed, weed is 4 components of a feedback or an accountability conversation. Now, you might use all 4 components in one conversation. You might use feed, need, seed, weed when you're prepping for a conversation. It helps you organize your thoughts and get some ideas down in each area, and then go in really well prepared. Or you might pick and choose 1 or 2 or a few that work for a situation. There are really a lot of ways to use feed, need, seed, weed. You can probably tell, especially with those pictures on the screen there, that it's meant to have a lawn keeping or a lawn care metaphor or analogy. The idea that, if I'm a groundskeeper, I feed and fertilize the lawn, I weed the lawn, I seed the lawn. If I'm a leader who's managing performance for someone that I work with, then I feed and recognize good performance. We like to say we feed the person, and we also feed their behavior or the strengths of what they did. I'll come back to need. We seed performance, right? We offer ideas. This is what you might do instead. And we weed anything that's a limiting practice. So often feed, seed, and weed are about behavior, are about what someone did. And need, people often hear it as like what you need to do, but that's not the right way to hear it. The idea of need is it's a picture of excellent performance. I like to think about the athletic realm because it just makes sense to me. If a coach, a baseball coach, say, is watching a batter, they watch that person and they're watching how their stance is, how their elbows are, where their head is. They've got a picture in their mind of ideal technique for batting. And then they observe what the person does in real life and they compare it to the ideal. Well, the need is where we talk about this is what great performance needs to look like. This is what your performance needs to look like. So it's about getting a deep mutual understanding of excellence, of what good looks like, of where we need you to be, where you're going to meet or exceed expectations in this situation. And it can be anything. It can be delivering a presentation, it can be getting your report in on time, or at a high, it can be leading a project and bringing it in on cost schedule and according to the performance metrics. All four of these components are a critical part of holding people accountable. One way that we like to look at it is with this graphic here. So if the gray line moving left to right is their performance, then the green feed is recognizing and affirming all the things that they did well. The need establishes this is what great performance would look like in this situation. So now you can see there's a little gap. Seed can fill in the gap. And weed is something that we pull out of the situation that we might do differently next time. So bottom line, the couple implications that I think come from feed, need, seed, weed are one, most leaders that I've never met someone who says, yeah, my habit and discipline around feeding great performance is exactly where it needs to be. When I was working in an organization, I would think all the time, wow, that's really great. I'm really impressed with what they just did. And then it dawned on me, I think that all the time, but I don't say it. So for most of us, if you're thinking about feed, need, seed, weed, and about creating the right environment for people to learn and grow and to deal with things early, then you might ask yourself, how disciplined, how regular, how much of a habit do I have around feeding the behaviors that I want to see repeated and reinforced? So with that, that's two thoughts. People love to learn and grow. And if you deal with it early and you're talking about performance often, then it's much easier to deal with it than if we delay and wait. And then ultimately, WXYZ and Feed, Need, Seed, Weed are two tools that we, the Humanergy team, have found really helpful in working with clients and in our own situations over the years.
That was the Humanergy Leadership Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe and visit humanergy.com for many more resources.